So I'm on move 16. I've got my back to where I was facing. So I was facing this way, and now I've got my back to you, so you can see. I've got my right arm, right leg out, and now we've just done a big ki. So what does big ki mean? That means we're going to do everything with a B. So it's big turn time. We're going to do back arm, back leg. So I look over my front shoulder to check. Now I look over my back shoulder. My back arm comes around my head, ready to do the Kihon Kata. The other one wraps around. My back leg comes across, and I block down. From here, I step forwards and punch. So from there, my right arm, right leg are out. I look over my front shoulder first to check, just like when you're crossing the road, check both ways. I check the front way first. Now I check the back shoulder. My back arm comes over my head, my back arm comes around my body, my back leg draws that diagonal line to break the line, turn one, and then I step forward and punch. Make sure you I was a little bit rushed there. Make sure you hit this stance, then step forwards. Don't whip yourself around. So from there, right arm, right leg out. I look over my front shoulder, then I look over my back shoulder. My back leg comes across, my back arm's coming up around my head, turn and block one, sit in that stance for a second, step forwards and punch. So here we've got moves 17 and 18. So from there, right arm, right leg out, I look over my front shoulder, now I look over my back shoulder, my back arm comes up, my back leg goes across my body in a diagonal line. Block down, one, Kihon Kata, I step forwards and punch. And through. We're going to do it 2 more times. So from there, look over my front shoulder. Now I'm going to look over my back shoulder. My back leg comes across, back arms up around my head, turn and block 1, and step forwards and punch 2. From here, front arm, front leg out, and look over my front shoulder. From here, now I take my back arm over my head, my back leg goes across my body, I turn looking over my back shoulder, turn block Kihon Kata, and step forwards and punch. 1 more time. From there, right arm, right leg out, I look over my front shoulder to check. Now I take my back arm up, my back leg starts moving, I look over my back shoulder, turn and block 1, hit that stance, and I step forwards and punch. So that's moves 17 and 18. So to finish off the kata, we've got 2 more moves. So I've got my right arm out. So if you're not sure, I'd stay with that last little bit and work on that. But if you're happy with it, you've got your right arm, right leg out, moves 18. So now I need 19 and 20. So I'm going to take my front arm, I'm going to take it in round my head. I look over my front shoulder and move my front leg, turn and block 1, step forwards and punch. So this last little bit of moves 17 to 20 is just like the beginning bit, or sorry, the top end bits. We've just done a ki. I look, turn, block 1, 2, turn, look, block 1, 2, and then we finish here. So from there, we're in this position. So we've just done big turn, 1, and we've just done punch. So now I look over my front shoulder. Okay, front arm, front leg turn. Use my front arm, use my front leg. Break that line. Break it from here. Step forwards and punch, and through. So remember, like I said, when I'm breaking that line here, I come across my body. So don't go straight here, because then I'll be like this. Or if I go in line, oh, I'm still wobbly. So I need to be there, across my body, legs pointing forward. So we are just done our ki. We've just done big turn and punch. So now we're in this position. So I look over my front shoulder, my front arm, front leg. So my front hand comes around my head, my other hand goes to guard my body, my front leg breaks the line, I turn and block 1, and then I pull myself into the punch. So 2 more times. So I've got my right arm, right leg out, look over my front shoulder, my front arm comes around my head, my front leg steps across here, turn and block 1, now pull yourself into the punch. Last one. Right arm, right leg out, just so you know where you're starting from. I look over my front shoulder, my front arm comes around my head, my front leg steps across, turn and block 1, from there step forwards and punch, and through. Now you'll wait in this position in the kata till you hear yame. So hear yame, you'll go to yoi, you'll re, and that's the whole of Kihon Kata. So let's go through it 2 times at a steady pace all the way through, and then we're going to just show you a few bits to practice and a few things to make sure you're not doing. So from here, so you're going to re, Kihon, Hejime. So I look, turn and block 1. Now I step forwards and punch. I should have my right arm, right leg out. Now front arm, front leg turn. So my front arm, front leg come round and I block 1. Now I step forwards and punch. Now I look over my front shoulder, front arm, front leg turn. So I use to block down towards you. Now I do 3 punches. Remember, 1, 1, 2. So come forwards. 1 here, 1, hup. Now it's done big ki, so we've got big turn, back arm, back leg. I look over my front shoulder to check. Now my back arm comes around my head. My back leg starts moving. My other hand covers. I block Kihon Kata. I step forwards and punch. Here. Now I come forward. My front arm comes around my head. My front leg goes across my body. Block 1 and step forwards and punch. And now I look down behind me. Front arm, front leg move and block 1. Now I come forwards 3 punches. Hup. Now we've just done a big ki. So big ki means back arm, back leg turn. With a big turn, so I look over my front shoulder. Now I check my back shoulder. Back arm comes around my head. Back leg comes round. I break the line and block. I step forwards and punch. And from there, front arm, front leg. Now I'm going to turn and block 1, punch. Hold it there. You hear yame. You step back to yoi. So remember, you step backwards. You don't step up. And we re. And then we're done. So let's go through it. I'll talk less this time. I'll try to. So re. Gion. Hechme. So look. Block. Punch. I look. Over the front shoulder. Block. And punch. Remember, front arm, front leg turn. I look over the shoulder and block. 3 punches. Hup. Big ki, big turn. Look over my front shoulder. Look over my back shoulder. Back arm comes up. Back leg goes across. Block 1. Step forwards and punch. Now front arm, front leg turn. So the front arm comes in, front leg, turn and punch. I look over my front shoulder, front arm, front leg, block. Breaking that line each time. 3 punches. Hup. Big ki, big turn, back arm, back leg. Front shoulder, then back shoulder. Back arm, back leg, turn 1, 2. Look over my front shoulder, turn with my front leg, hold it, yame. And re, and that's your Kihon Kata. So a couple of things you don't want to do. Half stances. So sometimes people do this. Sometimes they do it because they do it to be really quick. So here. So don't go like here. Make sure you do full stances. Full stance here. Don't do half a stance like that sometimes people do. The other thing is make sure that there's a difference between your Gidanbrai and Yakuzuki. Oh, sorry, your Orizuki. So Gidanbrai, don't have it too far out here because that looks like a punch, just a weird punch. Remember, block down to your knee. So Gidanbrai here will be block down to my knee and punch will be out tummy height. All the punches are chudan. So from there, you see here, I don't do this because then they're both in the same place. Imagine someone's going to kick you to the side. I look, I block down towards my knee, not touching my knee, just above it here, and then you can see as I come in here and punch that arm, I've kept that one there, they're different heights. This one pulls back as I do it, so that is just making sure here. 1, 2. I think the other thing is sometimes people overdo the turns and sometimes people try and make the turns too much, so just think simplicity and think where you're trying to go. Think, is it a front arm, front shoulder, front leg, front arm turn, or is it a back arm, back shoulder, back leg turn? And if you can think of those, you've pretty much got it. So the couple of bits I suggest people practice are these little sections here. So when you're doing it, if I do the first movements, so let's do it this way. So I'm going to block 1, 2. So look at your front arm, front leg are out. Look over your front shoulder. Front arm comes in, front leg goes across, block. Yeah. So here, front arm, it's a front arm, front leg turn. So I look over my front shoulder, take my front hand back behind my head, and my front leg steps across. So this is just a simple front arm, front leg turn. So a front arm, front leg turn, yeah, that's what we'll call it. So from here, if I do it from this angle this time, front arm comes in, front leg moves, I look over my front shoulder, take it across myself here. Remember, break that line. Try again, front arm, front leg, front arm comes in my head, whereas my my head turns over to my front shoulder, my front leg comes across my body here. Do one more. So from there, look over your front shoulder, front arm comes in, front leg breaks the line and block. We can also do that with the other arm. So if I was here, if I had my left arm out, so that was a half a turn, a front leg half turn. So here's a quarter turn doing it. So this is like after you've done it on move 4 to 5, I got my left arm and leg out, I look over my front shoulder and now I do a quarter turn. so I'm not turning all the way around. So this is the other one to practice. So I've got my left arm and leg out, I look over my front shoulder, my front hand comes around my head, and move my front leg, and I just do a quarter turn. So instead of me turning all the way around, I'm just turning 90 degrees. From there, a little bit of maths for you. From there, front arm, front leg out, left one it is, look over my left shoulder, my front shoulder, turn and block. Do one more, my left arm and leg are out, I look over my front shoulder, use my front arm, front leg to turn. And then the other one to practice your other turn is the big turn. So here what are we doing? We're going pretty much all the way around, 270 degrees. So from here, you have your right arm, right leg out, you'll check over your front shoulder. Now it's a back arm, back leg, big turn. So I look over my back shoulder, back arm comes up, back leg comes all the way around here, breaking that line, and then I've got my Gidan Brai. So from here, you'll do it from a right arm, right leg out, but it doesn't matter if you practice on both sides at all. So from here, I look over my front shoulder, now I take my back arm up, I look over my back shoulder, back leg comes across, Gidan Brai. Let's do two more to finish off for today. So I look over my front shoulder, now I look over my back shoulder, back arm comes up, back leg comes across, and back arm, back leg turn. So look here again, I look over my front shoulder to check first, now I look over my back shoulder, back arm comes up, back leg comes across, and block. Let's do a couple more. So from there, I'm out, I look over my front shoulder, now I look over my back shoulder, back arm comes up, back leg goes across the body, turn and block. One more. From there, look over the front shoulder, now look over the back shoulder, back arm up, back leg comes across, and turn. And those would be the key bits I'd say that people want to practice. So that's Kihon Kata all the way through. Hope you enjoyed the session, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Right?